that are said, uh, about the cross and being saved by the cross and so on. Many of those things originate, of course, with Franciscan spirituality. Now, it says, Francis expressly told his brothers against looking on this document as another rule, since it was only a remembrance or an admonition. Now, remembrance versus admonition, they're two different things. Remembrance is just what it says. It's a remembrance. Admonition is saying, you must, or you should pay attention to, or you're asked to do this. And so, at the same time, the Testament has always been held in great respect as an expression of profound wisdom and vision of the Seraphic Father and of his care and concern for those who would follow him. Now, do we truly believe, Francis, that he was able to empty himself and be total servant? I think that was his goal, his whole religious life. Did he do it all the time? I don't know if he could. All right, he certainly tried. All right, he probably comes the closest to it than anyone we'd ever know or realize. However, I also want you to remember something about these men who are so profound in the faith and in what they do in the faith. They too have their demons, and they too go through periods of darkness. Mother Teresa, she went through this awful, awful period of denial in her life, that all she had been working for was total, nothing. And she was tired of it, and she just wanted it to be over. And that was the devil, of course, doing his work with her. But there's something that all of those people, Francis, Mother Teresa, Padre Pio, there's something that they all hold on to in common. And I'm going to say this, and it's probably the thing that I say the most, because it's the thing I believe in the most. In order to be Franciscan, you need a conversion of heart. God finds you one way, but expects you to grow another way. All right? Just remember that. God loves you because he created you. All right? But, all right, when you take this on, it's like Father Romano says, we're not playing a game here where we just come together every month and give Robert Francis 2 dozen donuts and, something like...
Diabetic coma. Where is he, by the way?
He's sleeping.
Oh.
But anyhow, the bottom line is it's much, much more than that. And, you need to sense internally, what do you feel when you know you are going to be with your brothers? All right? What does that, what brings, what comes to you? What remains there? All right? And is the last experience the door that opens to the next experience? Or have you forgotten all of that? And the bottom line is, if you look at it all, every time we meet, all right, it's a step in the journey. It's a step in the process. It's a step in our evolving closer to the Lord. We don't know when the journey ends for us. And we may not get as far as we wanted in the journey because, we may end up someplace else. And Francis was totally open to that. Francis, in a few minutes we're going to read the canticle of Brother Sun and Sister Moon, and just so that you hear those words, it's a prayer of surrender. It's a prayer of becoming part of all creation. All right, it's a prayer of praising God for all that's good and holy. And Father Romano just said, people below should see this place as a place where holy things happen. All right? The only thing I would say to him, which I'll say to him later, sometimes you got to go through the muck to get to the holy. You've heard the phrase, the sacred and the profane. Well, they clash sometimes. They really do. And even in a holy place like this. And sometimes people who attempt to be holy, they have the most trouble with the devil. All right, because obviously they're going in a direction the devil's not too happy about. Absolutely.
Yeah,
And, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
that's okay. The idea of being holy, my former 6th and 7th grade teacher is a retired former provincial of the Sisters of St. Joseph. And she is, in a certain sense, one of my spiritual mentors. And she, one time she wrote a note, we were exchanging back and forth, she was trying to understand what was a lesser brother, what did that mean, and so on and so forth. And she's so grateful for the institution of the Franciscans of San Damiano. But she said, remember, don't waste your time trying to be holy. She said, be men of prayer. That's the route to the holiness. Is first be men of prayer. God knows I'm not holy.
Well, I don't know if that's true. All right, down on the end of the next page, and it says, and after the Lord gave me brothers, no one showed me what I should do. But the Most High himself revealed to me, you see where I am, everybody? I'm down toward the bottom of the page. This page here, it's got the little picture up in the corner. Okay, I'm down toward the bottom of that page. All right. After the Lord gave me brothers, no one showed me what I should do. After you entered this community, no one gave you a formula of what to do. This is how I become a Franciscan of San Damiano. Are there expectations? Of course there are expectations, but can you go to a little bag and open it up and say, this is what I do now. This makes me a Franciscan of San Damiano. This makes me this makes me that. I hope not. Because if we're going to go shopping to try to find the ingredients for the cake, this cake isn't going to bake. I can tell you that. All right. And I had this written down simply and in a few words, and the Lord Pope confirmed it for me. And those who came to receive life gave to the poor everything which they were capable of possessing, and they were content with one tunic, patched inside and out, with a cord and short trousers. Oh, I'd look grand. And we had no desire for anything more. We who were clerics used to say the office as the clerics did. The lay brothers said the Our Father, and we quite willingly stayed in churches. And we were simple and subject to all. Now, there's great wisdom in Father Romano. I'm sure you've caught that. He opens the door and expects you to discover. He lays it open for you and you can see it very clearly, but he doesn't come right out and bite you on the nose. He wants you to get in that door. He wants you to walk through. Right? He wants you to discover. He wants you to find it. So this testament is very important because it kind of shows you some of the things that Francis was concerned about. You know, how do you do this? How do you do that? And Francis, of course, he was the founder. And he was struggling to know, gee, what is best? And Francis, you know, he was a hellion. I'm going to tell you that right now. And the one thing you need to know about Francis is he loved his brothers. You know, he went through some terrible things with the brothers. They turned on him. Can you imagine that? Somebody turning on you like that after you've done all those? But who was that doing that? Yeah. Why did that go on? And why am I so adamant that if I hear people being unkind to each other, I'm going to fly across the room? Because there's no reason for that. Absolutely no reason for that. You look around the table and you have to admit, everybody at the table brings something to the community. There's a gift there inside of you, as Father Romano said, that you do and nobody else does. And that's true of every single person. But you've got to believe that about yourself. You know, you can't sit back and say, oh gee, let brother do it, or let so-and-so do it. I have no interest in it. It's not doing anything for me.